Hello everyone, welcome back in another video. Today date is 20th of October 2022, and in our today's video we are going to see a lambda expression. So in our previous video we are discuss about the variant features implemented in our Java. So one of the most important feature is introduced by Java, that is a lambda expression, and that function is introduced in Java version 8, and that version is released in 2014. So what is the major aspects in lambda expression are introduced, or what are the different kind of features are given in lambda expression? Let's we see. After the lambda expression, the functionality or developer can improve the development speed and execution speed by using a lambda expression. Lambda expression is nothing but an anonymous process. So anonymous process means, the suppose before the lambda expression, that means before the version 8, we are simply writing a method like a public static void and then method names, then parenthesis and curly braces. So for that kind of creating a method, anonymous means we don't need to pass any kind of a access modifier, or we don't need to pass the any kind of a return type, or after that we don't need to pass the name of that class. We have to only write the parenthesis. That is our argument. Within that parenthesis, we simply passing the arguments. All you know. So we need to only write down the parenthesis, then dash and right side arrow. That is the symbol of a lambda expression. So for writing a lambda expression, we simply write that the parenthesis, within that parenthesis we are passing the arguments. So parenthesis, then dash and an arrow, right side arrow, that is the lambda expression symbol, and then the body. These are the three parameters comes under the lambda expression. So lambda expression having three parameters, that is the parenthesis, then dash and that right arrow, that is the symbol, and after that body. So within that parenthesis we simply passing the parameters, and that symbol denote the lambda expression, and within that body we are giving the functionality, or we are passing some execution code. Okay, so we can compare that lambda expression with the previous versions. Before the coming the lambda expression, suppose we are using that lambda expression with the interfaces. So what kind of interfaces? There was basically three types of interfaces. First one is a normal interface, that within that interface we are implementing the different kind of methods. That means the more than one methods are containing within any interface, that is the normal interface. After that, if that interface contain only one method, that interface we can call it as a functional interface. Okay, that is the most important point. The which interface is containing only one single method, that interface is only called as a functional interface. And the third one is a markup interface, marker interface. So that marker interface does not have any kind of a method, it's the methodless. That means there is only empty interfaces there. Okay, we can discuss markup interface in another video. So first we comes toward our point. In our video, our lambda expression can support only functional interface. So all we know that our interface is containing a only method, it does not contain a body. That means suppose I am creating a one interface, that is the functional interface. For that functional interface I can give name as a interface 1. Okay, name as a interface 1. That interface I am writing a one method. That method is suppose void addition, and that void addition I am giving two values num1 and num2. That is my interface. So I have to implement that method. So but in the interface we are not able to write any body or calculations. So that's why we implement that method in another class. For that I am creating a one class. Suppose I am creating a class A. So that class A can implement the interface 1. That means the class A implements all those properties or method comes under the our our interface 1. Okay, so all those methods written in our interface 1 comes under the class A. That means our interface containing only one method. That's why we can call it as a functional interface. Due to that, if we are extending any interface, that time we have to write each and every method which is present in our uh, interface. That's why we can simply write as a public, and then we are write that name of that method, that is the addition, and then parenthesis. Within that parenthesis we are simply giving that parameter which we are passing from interface, that is our num1 and num2. After that, we can have to pass the values in our interface. Suppose I am passing the value as a 10 and 20, that value can be received in my class as 10 and 20, num1 as a 10 and num2 as a 20. Okay, after that I have to write any functional code between that lambda expression. I am writing a lambda expression. Okay, so one important point is that when we are writing any lambda expression, that time we are writing a suppose we are writing a lambda expression at the right side of a equal to sign. So Java rule is that Java can implement firstly the right side of equal to sign, and that value or that product will be assigned to the left side. That's why when we are writing any lambda expression, that time we have to write any additional annotation or any additional reference type for the particular interface. That's why we are giving one more name. Suppose that is our interface name is interface1, and I am passing the one reference variable as a obj. Suppose so. Now our syntax is like that: interface1 obj is equal to parenthesis, and within that parenthesis I am passing the parameters, that is num1 and num2. After that, lambda expression symbol, that is dash and right arrow, and after that the curly braces. Okay, one more thing is that our lambda expression can end by the semicolon at their curly braces. In our regular method, we are not giving any semicolon at the curly braces, but in our lambda expression there is a must required to end of that line by using a semicolon. Okay, so that we can write that function or logical calculation within that parenthesis. We simply write a sys out, that is system.out.println, and within that parenthesis we can write only simple num1 plus num2 and then end of block, that is our semicolon. So after that, giving the return, it gives us output. When we run the program, that time it compile that code and it gives us output as a 20. Overall these things, what is the need of a lambda expression? We are using a lambda expression for to reduce the line of code. Okay, if we are if we are not using a lambda expression, that time we have to create the object for that particular interface. That means we have to write the method for that particular class, and then we have to create the object, and by calling that object we are get the data from that interface. But in our lambda expression, we no need to create the object. We simply using an anonymous class, and within that anonymous class we only use the direct object of that class. That means we no need to implement that particular interface. We no need to use a keyword as a implement. We only write the class name, and then we only call that method by using suppose we are interface name. We are giving that interface name as an interface 1 obj is equal to, and our lambda expression statement we only call that by using obj dot and then method's name, that is the obj dot add, and within that the arguments which we are passing. So after that, that is the main difference between our regular method and using a lambda expression. That's why after the version 8, the more much effort should be reduced. That means by using a lambda expression, the easier for the coding and developing and reading the code and passing the code. So that is the overall about lambda expression. Thank you.